Hi, it's Tamika Shilby, and look what the tide rolled in. Look at this, we got Carolyn Burke here. Hi, so glad she could come and share her wisdom. We have 3 messages for you to choose from today. So this is on the Joycast, you get to choose one of the options, and then that's a more personal message for you. So your choices today are rock, feather, and crow. So rock, feather, and crow. So all these choices today relate to good grief. So good grief, Charlie Brown. Grieving. So some of you know that my dog died suddenly, recently, and it's been a time for me of grieving and really going through this process of what is it like to have grief that's productive. So this Joycast is really about loss, and you can relate it to a past loss. It might be something that happened a long time ago. All of us have lost something. Maybe we've lost health, maybe we've lost a job, maybe we've lost a relationship, maybe we're grieving an opportunity or a period in our life that we're mourning, wishing we could have that back. If you chose rock, your message is about giving yourself the time you need to grieve. And so rocks are solid. You can't really, they just like sit there. You can't rush a rock. And they've stood the test of time too. So they've seen tens of thousands of things come and go. So time is different for a rock than it is for us. But give yourself as much time as you need, as though you had all the time in the world. Because when you do that, when you invest in that time to grieve, it will give you back time later. I promise that. But don't get stuck in it. Just give it the time it needs, the time you need, and then move on. We can often get into, like for me, when I was grieving recently, I was like, I gotta get back to work, I gotta get back to work. And I did need to get back to work at certain times, but then I had to go back into my grief. Go back to work, and then go back into my grief. Don't rush this process.
If you chose feather today, feather for me is about a message from spirit. Birds who drop their feathers, can you hear that seagull, are obviously closer to the ethers, closer to heaven, and connected in a different way than we are here on earth. So often when a feather comes down into our path, it's a sign. So for me, the message from spirit is to remember that there is hope. And obviously when you're in the grips of grief and you're sad and you're overwhelmed, it's hard to really even connect to that. I remember people saying to me after my father died, oh, he's in a better place. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't feel like it. Thanks for saying that, but no, that doesn't fit for me. What did fit, though, was to tune into what kind of messages I felt. And for me, that came in the form of like a dream and a presence. And it made me feel like, okay, I'm not alone, and that it's okay, that everything's going to be okay. So this message from spirit, it's just important to tune into what that might be for you. And it might come a month later, it could come 3 months later, it could come in a dream, in a visualization, an imagery. There's often messages that are available to us if we open our eyes and see it, but really feel it with our hearts.
I love that. And I remember you talking about how upset that made you when people said your dad's in a better place. What could they have said? I think that's part of the cultural thing, like, let's just take this away.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, he's better, so stop showing me your tears. Like, I can't handle this.
Yeah.
So what should people say?
I think they have to just be with you in the pain, so that there's no erasing it, there's no making it better. It's awful what you're going through. It's horrible. This is a horrible loss for everyone and for you, and I'm so sorry.
So if you chose crow, the message is about this magical bird. Sometimes crow is related to death, but it's often related more at its deeper essence to transformation, because any death, no matter what it is in our lives, is a transformation. And that's what the crow wants you to know today, is that this is a time to transform. What we do with death in our culture typically is to avoid it. What I'm going to suggest, at least for me, and this for all of us is going to look a little bit different, but for me, with Jai dying, one of the things I was really clear about was that I was going head into my pain. I wasn't going to avoid it. mean, certainly I wouldn't walk around with strangers and tell them, because I'm going to hold that close to my heart for the people that can handle it, can hold it and reflect that pain back to me appropriately. But I made a conscious choice not to pretend, and I feel like that is what gets us stuck in never really recovering from grief, is we pretend that we're fine. Oh, I'm fine. And you know, men have this a little bit even harder because, you know, boys don't cry and all the messages they've received, but we women do that too. We just carry on, or we say, I'm fine. It's the protection that we have around our heart. And what I'm noticing this time with this particular grief is that the more I go directly into it and not avoid my feelings, you know, I've been journaling, I've been talking to you. There were certain days where there was one day I said, I don't even want to live. I know that sounds dramatic, but I'm sharing that with you because you may have felt that way before. I don't mean that I was suicidal, but you may have felt that way. And you know what you said to me at one of those points? You said, I know you feel like that. Yes, you feel like that. So she wasn't trying to say, don't feel like that, don't feel like that. She was like, yes, you feel like that, but I promise you, it's not going to be that way forever. But she was still able to be with me in the moment. And so we got to be careful how we talk to other people when they're in that moment. There's so many ways we can derail people's true grief path. And the message from the crow is this deep midnight womb-like transformation, because if you think about the womb, it's black, and the new moon, there's so much possibility in the womb before we're born, and same with that new moon, dark moon. It's full of possibility because of that darkness that we're in. Thank you so much for joining us on the Joycast. It meant so much for us to share this time and space with you. If you're grieving, hang in there. We love you. Please leave us a comment in the comment section below and let us know if this landed for you, or if you have ideas about how to help others with their grief. We'd love to hear from you. Have a great day. See you soon. Today you have 3 choices. They are rock, feather, and silent. The choice formerly known as Prince.